We love horror movies from the 70s and 80s, and we watch them for 2 days straight, and then we go write a book. Now we're looking back at every title, one at a time, in this podcast that we put out monthly. Once we've had an episode for every movie, it's time to meet up for another Shock Marathon.
Oh yeah, the red record light is red, which means it's time for another exciting edition of the Shock Marathons podcast. I'm Matt Farley here with Tom Scalzo.
Hello.
Ava Scalzo.
Hi.
And Charlie Roxburgh.
Greetings.
We're here to discuss the Worm Eaters. Tom, does it have the? Okay, on the box. The Worm Eaters, which was made.
Wow.
What year was that made, Charlie?
77 is when it came out, right, Tom?
Yeah. Well, the box cover says 78, but I think it was 77. I think this is wrong.
Herb's had been working on it for a long time prior to whenever it was released. That much, I suspect. So it starts off with hand-drawn pictures of worms in different locations. 2 minutes and 50 seconds of that, in fact, with a saloon style piano ditty called "Nobody Likes Me, Everybody Hates Me. Guess I'll go eat some worms." I did not. I almost tried to look up the origin of that song, but it's a song unrelated to the movie. Like, that song exists outside the movie, Charlie.
Yeah, I thought about that too. If they had to get rights to it, or did they just not care,
or is it
old
just
enough?
a folk song?
It doesn't seem old enough.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't get that. I don't understand that song. That's a whole different podcast. Ava, were you familiar with that song prior to the movie?
I was not, but it certainly doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the story. Yeah.
I think it had the word worms in it, and they probably didn't have to pay for it, so they were like, yes.
Yeah. We should do a second episode that examines the history of that song, but we had to sit through listening to that song. Okay, real quick, what is the message of that song? Is it about self-loathing and trying to get attention? Are they basically saying, like, woe is me, I'm going to eat worms and maybe people will feel bad for me? Is that the message, Tom?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And that's not what's going on in the movie.
No, it's completely inappropriate for the movie.
Except for the worm eating.
But I do enjoy, except for the worm eating, but I do enjoy the effort that must have gone into these hand-drawn pictures of worms in various scenes of like life. They're like living their lives in the worm utopia.
Yeah, a lot of pictures. Charlie.
But it's also not animated. Like, how often do you see an intro where there's something like that and it's not animated?
Yeah.
It's just B-movie enough, you know?
It's great. It's like Herb.
I
think Herb had like a 13-year-old daughter. He's like, honey, I got some assignments for you. Let's pull out the crayons, and here's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need a picture of a bathroom with a bunch of worms in it. All right? Get to work, kid.
And get your music teacher to get the class together and perform this song in like the 3rd grade music room with the piano.
I guess I should play a snippet of it for the people.
Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms. Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms.
It goes on and on and on, but that's the song. So Charlie,
is it just me, or is this a very kazoo heavy film?
It's not just you.
Okay.
It's kazoo heavy film. Every song sounds like it was played on like one of those tiny little Casio pianos. That it's not a full size. It's a Casio, and they didn't use the like actual piano setting. They used the like weird. It's Calliope setting.
Little rinky-dink thing, and then they're like, add the kazoo.
All right, so now we're around a campfire at night with some beer-drinking guys who are complaining about how the fish are not biting and how it's hard to sleep because one of them is snoring.
Oh, man.
Well, okay.
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 Burping, yeah.
Meanwhile, there's the footsteps
but Just before we go on, I don't want to detract from your momentum, but this is almost exactly the same opening as
Rana.
Well, yeah, but also Curse of the Screaming Dead, when the three guys are in the van complaining about like nothing, just sitting there talking to each other. It's like the same shot, like three guys complaining about nothing.
Yeah, totally.
But in Rana, you get sportsmen hanging out around a lake in the woods.
That's true. That's better.
Maybe not right at the beginning, but
I would have rather watched either one of those movies. Why do we let the people decide? Anyway, one of the campers. Then there's a man. We see the footsteps of a man with a bad right foot, going around. That's obviously Ungar, and then he unleashes a few worms upon them, and they recognize the noise that the worms make.
Yeah, as you do.
One of the he follows the sound and then cradles him in his hand, and we do not see these guys for a long time. I mean, they are just wiped from your memory until they do return. But there's no spoilers here, Charlie. I'll let you talk, but. What is going... Like, Ungar has killed them just because they're fishing on his property? Is that what happened, Charlie?
I was going to ask you guys for your opinion, too. But apparently he, with everyone else, it seems like the worms are directly in the food. Here, he just placed them nearby.
And he knows.
Yeah. And they had no... he would have to have known that they were going to use the worms to catch fish, and then somehow... I don't know. The fish ingested the worm, so they got them from the fish. But it's such a long,
Is that even explained?
Well, yeah. But what's weird is he seems surprised later when people eat worms and are transformed. So I don't know if he was doing this on purpose.
He was just letting his worms get out for a bit, like letting them exercise, and it happened to be
awesome.
Well, I mean, we see that he has a very unnatural attachment to his worms, and he not only does he just talk to them, they each have names, and he recognizes them as individual worms.
That's true.
They have personalities apparently.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna vote that he was not trying to sabotage the fishermen. I think he was just letting them out for a walk, and then the fishermen got them. That's what I'm saying. Who dares to disagree with that?
I think that already more thought has been put into that scene right now than the writers did when they did it.
Yeah, more than they put into the whole movie. Yeah. All right. So next day, we follow the footsteps of this. Again, it's the mysterious footsteps of a person, and he's walking through someone's nice house, which features a pony in the yard. Turns out there's a birthday party going on for Ursula, who's turning 8. She's about to cut the cake when the boy next to her, who I guess is her brother, steals the knife and says he's gonna cut the cake just like he cut up her dog. Oh my God, that is brutal. Charlie.
I thought he said her doll.
Oh, okay. We need a tiebreaker.
I thought it was doll too.
Oh no!
Yes. Another side note. I'm 78% sure that house is this Ted V. Mikels sort of mansion house that he had in the LA area.
Wow.
And nice. It was known for he would let a lot of people stay over, aspiring actors, and he had I think stuffed things on the wall, and it was just his version of a little castle. So I'm guessing that he filmed there.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. The rest of the movie is just filmed in this dingy horribleness, and here we are in a mansion. So yeah, interesting. All right, so just like I cut the doll, that makes it a little less gruesome. Sorry about that. The kids argue. The dad ends up pushing the boy away. Ursula cuts the cake and finds worms in it. She's delighted. everyone else is terrified, running away in this over the top, like sped up comedic style that has the saloon piano going on. It is unpleasant in so many ways, Charlie.
Yeah, we gotta just mention failed comedy here.
Yes.
And I like this movie a lot. But there's so much confusing and bad things going on right there. I mean, first, why does she like the worms?
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. She wanted her birthday party to be perfect.
Yeah.
Why does she say, there, squirmy? She seems to like it. Then I'm going to also say it's the first example of terrible insert shots where they cut to the worms and you could totally tell it was like
different mouth,
different lighting, different location. The hands are a different size. Everything is really, a bad insert.
Yeah.
But
he had one woman and one man willing to eat worms on camera, so like he just filmed them in a room and then inserted them.
Kept
throughout
doing
the movie.
that.
Yeah.
Just in general, the movie's just on such a roll of like bad joke, bad one-liner, bad pun. And then Benny Hill undercranked comedy. For comedy, some two people just run into each other and clonk heads.
Yeah.
And or a lady falls onto the grass.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Now, here's what it comes down to. Failed horror is wonderful. Failed drama is fantastic. Failed comedy is so painful. This is like... when we do Screaming Dead, there'll be the moment like where the guy jokes like, you'll know there's an earthquake after I've been intimate with you or whatever it is. You'll feel the earth move. That's okay because it's a character. The character is telling a joke that's not funny, which is different from the movie presenting a situation that it thinks is funny. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
Tom.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they were going for it's. I mean, it's billed. What is it billed? It's billed as a comedy. It says it on the cover.
Wow.
So like they were trying for, and of course we cover it as horror, but they were trying for comedy. I think Herb and whoever else he got to help him, which is probably not very many people, but maybe Ted was involved. But I think they thought it was really funny.
Yeah, what a shame. It hurts. A lot of pain, and let's get to some more of it. Okay, so now, who are the evil developers? One of them is the mayor, or is he gonna be the mayor? He's currently mayor?
He's the current mayor.
Yeah.
Okay. He's
the mayor.
Current mayor.
And he's Ursula's dad, right?
He's Ursula's dad,
I had no idea. Let's listen to them discuss their evil plan for the lake area that Ungar runs a campground on.
Imagine 6 months ago to the day, Buck Bowen, U.S. champion fisherman, and his weekend buddies spent their very last days here at this very campsite.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. That's some good what's that called, Tom?
Exposition.
Thank you. Let's hear some more.
Be seen or heard from again. Now, people are afraid to come down to this lake, Max. But actually, that's helping out our plans nicely.
Yeah, the town jerks will vote to rezone out here because they want the vacationers just as badly as they wanted the waters to irrigate the crops the time your old man built the first dam out here. Now, your old man wouldn't let a little bad publicity get in his way. No way! He had guts. He wouldn't let anything stop him. Not even Umgar's father. That's why he had the crown.
All right, we could go on, but
man.
There's so much explaining there. It reaches levels of exquisiteness because anyone with any willpower or shame would just stop trying to explain the whole history of the town and the setup in this one movie with these two guys. But they just keep piling it on, and it's really great.
Yeah, but go Ava.
Those two characters, this isn't the only scene we see with them, but together sort of explaining the movie to us. But the one guy, not the mayor, the other guy,
Max,
he yells every single line. Like he is so angry.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
It's so much anger.
He's got so much. He's just like, and you're like, okay, well, dude, I don't, because like at least the mayor has a reason to be mad at Umgar because there's that rivalry between their dads, but Max is like this third party dude who's just like angry.
He's like mad on other people's behalf.
Yeah, and they didn't do the math right because Ungar's father, they say that the accident happened in like the 40s, like before that guy would have probably even been born. And he holds up he holds up the mayor's father as this great man. He wouldn't have even really known.
Yeah.
And,
good point.
Now, the overacting it's okay. There's moments of this that are okay, but it's also they're going so broad and they seem to be going a little bit for comedy. If they were doing this and trying to be sinister, it would be so much more enjoyable for me, and I could forgive it the broadness. But and also the screaming guy. Do you notice like he starts off screaming, but like by the last word of his sentence, you can't really hear him. It's like he's lost all his he used all his air for the first 5 words of every sentence. Just a minor quibble. Anyway, the mayor discusses his plan to get Ungar committed. He's also looking for some important deeds that Ungar might have. They also mention that those fishermen from the opening scene died there a year ago, which is great. Charlie.
Just one fun thing. For the last 15 years, I've been thinking about this. I'm a little confused whether his name is Umgar or Ungar.
I still don't know.
I still don't know. But I am pretty sure that the characters are confused too, because some people, including the worm men, call him Ungar and some people call him Umgar. I think that it was never clear, and it's okay if we vary.
Okay, good to know. Okay, I don't even know. Not that it matters, but what is this rivalry, Tom? I don't even know the history. Did you pick it? Do you figure it out?
Between Umgar's father and the mayor's father?
Yeah. What is going on with all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they sort of explain it at one point. They said I think they went in together on some investment of this area, and then they had a disagreement on what to do with it, like how to develop it, and then some sort of accident, which was actually murder, I think, in which the mayor's father killed Umgar's father, so that he could take over and develop this into like pristine recreation land or something. And I think that's the heart of it. But Umgar inherited his property, and so the mayor can't just develop it because he doesn't own it all.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, Tom.
Yeah, very, very impressive. All right, so now we get to meet Ungar. He's delighting in a jar full of worms. The mayor is pounding on his door. He ignores it for a while, but then finally opens it. The mayor demands the deed from Ungar, who insists there's nothing. I don't enjoy the overacting by the mayor or his buddy, is what I wrote in my notes. Okay, now we hang out a while with Ungar as he talks with his worms. He has names for each one of them, as Ava noted. I noticed him call one of them Bertha, which is a great name for a worm. He feeds some creature that lives in a fish tank with smoke coming out of it. What is that? Charlie, do we know?
Those are other
More
worms in there, I think.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
And I think that might be the result of their ability to mutate people because they've been eating meat.
Okay. The scene is 4 excruciating minutes long, ladies and gentlemen. I know that because I timed it. Charlie.
How scripted do you guys think any of that was?
That's 0.
He's singing that song do-a-diddy, Kansas City, and the do-a-diddy. That's all filler. I can't believe that he's just randomly mumbling a song, and then he could pick up any worm and say anything to them at any point.
Right.
And isn't For Elise playing in the soundtrack too?
I can't remember when Freddy's kicks in,
I think
but
it's
probably.
I think at the beginning part of that scene, it's like because I remember turning to you and being like, "What is going on? Like, why is For Elise playing?"
Yeah.
And then it just kept playing over and over again.
That's true.
Correct.
Is that coming out of a music box? Is For Elise coming out of a music box, or is it a different song?
Yes,
I think that's it.
It's almost reminiscent of the watch from
Right.
from Memorial Valley Massacre, you know?
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
It seems that For Elise is soothing to the worms. Did anyone else pick up on that? That he plays it for them, or am I crazy, Charlie?
I don't know, or it might just put them in a dancing mood because later in that Glen,
I love when the worm dances for
he
him.
frolics. I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Herb.
Okay, all right. Okay, now we have 4 people on their annual nature trip. They have reservations at the camp. He leads them to their spot. A woman says it's the worst. It's worse than the spot they went to in Chile. She thinks there'll be tarantulas. Ungar convinces them otherwise. When Ungar says he's serving baby lizard, one of the ladies faints. For that whole scene is just failed comedy of these like rich people. Why are they camping at this campground? I guess it's not worth even thinking about, is it, Tom?
No, it's definitely worth thinking about. So that's the whole point of this argument between Umgar and the mayor is that the mayor wants to turn this. He wants to rezone it as a recreation place, which it's not commercial or industrial. It's recreation. They say that multiple times. So what is a recreation place going to be? It's like camping. Right,
so
and like
already
water
is.
sports, and it already is. But so Umgar is apparently in possession of this area, and is already sort of trying to make it a recreation area.
I mean, it is. If people are camping on it, it's recreational.
He's taking reservations. Yeah, they have reservations.
Like the mayor should just work with him, and like. I don't know why they're fighting.
Don't you hate these people though? This foursome that's coming. That's just so nonsensical, Charlie.
I do, but the scenario is what's great. So I'm just enjoying the fact that people showed up for vacation there. They're overacting and their broad comedy on the individual level is not good, but I just love that. Okay, here's this club-footed worm man who has to deal with breakfast orders for the vacationers, and why are they there? That delights me.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's this fetid swamp. Like no one would go there.
Yeah, it's so not nice to look at, and I can only imagine what it's like to be there, Charlie.
And Herb gets some bonus points for his acting here. Every now and again, he does some kind of eye roll or some funny like half smile that is the best acting
Priceless.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Now
but also reminiscent of Memorial Valley. Like why are these people vacationing in these places?
Yeah, wow, the connections run deep. Okay, now we have six people around a table talking about their evil plan. I guess they're all like KKK guys, right, Tom?
I don't know.
No, they're not KKK. They're all wearing white sheets, aren't they?
It's just a secret society in general that's in favor of you doing like economic things together, I think, in the way that other societies are.
Is the mayor one of these people?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
It's called the M Society.
Let's listen to so it has it's the M. But I mean, it's essentially the same thing as the KKK, right?
With no
the
racist thing.
There's no overt racism.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet you behind the scenes they have racist thoughts as well. Let's listen to them talk.
I'm a football coach club foot just like Ungar's. He used to kick us with it. I wanted to rip it off and beat him to death with it. Calm down, Max. You're not playing football. This is serious money business. And use the cups.
Oh, I can
Wow.
Why use the cups?
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad.
No need to use the cups, first off. But just this level of overacting. Oh, it's so painful. And I can feel it, like, from our experience in making movies. Sometimes, especially when you're in high school, making a movie and your friend is just overacting so much. And, that got into a movie that got in every video store in the world, so it's kind of amazing. But that guy Max, Ava, he hurts.
Yeah, Max is pure pain.
It's too much. It's way too much on you. Yeah.
Okay, they're planning.
And also, I mean, you got beer in a can, right? Is he supposed to take those little styrofoam cups and pour his beer into it for each beer, or like a third of a beer in there and have making more trash?
You're right.
That's a good point.
It's not a fancy meeting here.
Okay, so they're called the M Society, is that right?
Yeah, in fact, they even used magic marker to draw M's on their chest, on the sheets.
I can't believe that you three are acting like I'm so crazy to suggest that there's any similarities to the Ku Klux Klan.
There's definitely similarities.
All I said was there is no overt racism, but it obviously modeled on the sheets
I'm just saying,
and the robes or whatever.
All three of you.
There's xenophobia. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, xenophobia, and also cheap costumes. Like what do you got? You just buy some sheets and.
All right. So they have a plan to ransack Ungar's place when he goes to get supplies. They know about his supply run. Now it's his supply run. Oh, he goes into town listening. Is this song on the radio? Another question. Is this happening on the radio or the soundtrack? Let's listen to it and then let's decide.
Outside of town, there lives a man people put down. He wants the lake and trees, but they want instead to build concrete homes and make lots of rent. And they're trying to destroy him, but he's holding fast and firm. And those who come to take his home may wind up eating worms.
Oh, I love that song. Oh, that should be the
That's
opening.
so good.
If that was the opening song.
The best song on the soundtrack.
Oh, no question it's the best song. That is really, really good. Now, okay.
For your guys' next concert. Cover song time. A little ditty that you all might know quite well.
Okay, we're going to have to go around the room here. I think that is supposed to be on the radio. Charlie, do you agree?
No.
Tom?
I don't think so either.
And Ava?
I think it's probably the soundtrack.
Okay, all right. But there is a moment where he gets back in the truck, turns it on, and it starts again, right?
It's just movie as you do kind of stuff.
Okay, all right. But either way, so good. I love that song.
Yeah, the movie takes a whole new life there for a minute.
Oh,
when
it's
that song
so
kicks
enjoyable
in.
compared to the like that just like insane circus music.
Yeah, and Umgar's kind of smiling then too, which makes it happier. The whole movie, you're like, all right, he's kind of charming for a minute or two. Just funny guy.
Ungar goes to the hardware store. There he meets the younger guy who wants him to come to the meeting to save the lake. Ungar doesn't seem to be into it, even though this guy is defending him, right? This guy's on his side. Okay. On the drive home, he sees different people who are punching and wrestling in a cartoonish style. What was that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like two sets of people on the side of the road wrestling. Tom, what is that?
I think this town is just there's just a lot of violence in this town. Remember, like there's like this random arm wrestling happening. I think this town is just beset by anger and the constant need to fight.
Terrible idea to include that.
Yeah.
Just so random. Like, that makes me mad. Ungar sees Fern Hopewell. My favorite character, I think. She's the best. She's an archaeology student who's come to do research, just on like a rogue researcher too. You know, she just
so cool.
she was waiting for some sort of shuttle service to take her to the lake, I guess. But
such a patient woman. Fern.
But Ungar offers a ride, and she puts her thing in the truck and agrees to meet up with them in a little bit. I think. That's what happens?
Yeah, exactly. She walks around the town a little bit.
Does she overtly comment that he's crazy after he drives off? Or was that a mistake? No, maybe that's another scene. Forget that. Ungar gets into an argument with his right foot while parking the car. He tells it to cooperate and then plays it some the music box soothes his foot, Tom.
I forgot the foot is a character.
That's why he can dance, I guess. Yeah.
What's going on with his foot, Charlie?
I think it's just, how some great things have other great things on top of them. I think they were just like, we got this worm-eating mutation movie. Let's have a magic foot that is soothed by music.
Okay, so maybe it's the foot that's soothed by music, not the worms, when I said earlier. I got a lot of misconceptions about this movie, and I apologize to you three and the listeners. Ungar sees a woman. She wants to go out dancing with him. He's not into it. She offers to come to his place. He says she wouldn't like it, but she pushes and pushes. He accuses her of being a gold digger. A good meal and a good woman is all a good man needs, she says, after insisting that she come over at 8 p.m. Then when he leaves, she says, that guy's loaded. I just know it. Now, I just gave the details of the scene. Do any of you want to describe this woman, Charlie?
Well, I'm just going to say kind of cardinal sin to have your actor do an impression.
Okay.
We bring that up sometimes. So she's trying to do, I guess, Marlene Dietrich. At first, I thought she was completely unbelievable, like why she's talking to Ungar. But I did appreciate the fact that she thinks he's loaded. I forgot about that from having watched it many years ago. I don't know. She kind of overacts. She's, I don't know. She's not the best, but we do get a good scene out of her going to the cabin.
She's less annoying than the foursome and the campgrounds, I think. How about you, Ava?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. She just like some people in the movie seem, like I had a issue with her costuming, I guess. So most people in the movie are costumed, and I mean they look ridiculous, but at least they look like they're from the 1970s. Yeah. So you're like, well, they went, and her costuming, it's sort of like what Charlie said. She's trying to be some sort of Marlene Dietrich type character. So she literally looks like she's out of a 30s film, and it just doesn't jive with the rest of the what else has been going on, and so it's an extremely bizarre encounter.
Yeah, and it's as random as the people punching each other on the sidewalk. It doesn't do it for me. But again, it's faint praise. But she's less annoying than the campers. So she's got that going for her. Okay, so now Fern, the archaeologist, talks with the protesters a bit. Let's listen to it.
Are you going up to the lake to vacation?
Yeah. I'm an archaeology student here on kind of a hunting expedition. I'm going to dig up fossils and things like that.
Oh, isn't she the greatest? I love that.
Yes.
Fossils and things like that. Let's hear more.
Dig up anything like a Clyde Harris, make sure you put him back in the ground again.
Yeah, and if you run across any of those hustler types like Clyde Harris, Sonny Melnick, or anybody on that city council, then just let us know. We've got to keep our eye out on what's going on up there at that lake. We've just got to keep in touch.
What do you, Ava? You were going to say something about Fern?
Yeah, I was just going to say, did they not know that paleontologists are the ones who actually are looking for fossils, and archaeologists are looking for artifacts?
I'm sure they didn't. That's a good little. There were a lot of things Herb didn't know when he was writing the script. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I got to tell you, I didn't know until you just pointed it out.
I mean, we've just been watching a lot of Friends, so we're aware of what paleontologists do.
That's a good point. I didn't catch that either.
So, but Fern is a breath of fresh air because she feels so natural right there. When she's talking, just like, I'm going to be digging up things. It's like, oh, she's the best. Huh, Charlie?
She's so calm and just happy. And these other guys, too, even though they're very earnest in their environmental things, they're not so annoying as the M Society people, and they're not beating each other up or anything. It's just like, it feels like they were trying a little bit, and there's no failed comedy, really, except for that joke about if you find him, leave him in the ground. That's kind of dumb.
But that's okay because it's him. It's him, again, if a character makes a bad joke, it's more forgivable.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it is a breath of fresh air here, and I don't know. The pacing is a little better in this movie than I thought it was going to be from having watched it before. Like, okay, we get this new girl in, and then it's moving somewhat.
Yeah, we saw it late at night in a copy that was so dark. Like, I had no memory of this movie watching it again. Tom, how about you? You've revisited it since, I guess, have you?
Yeah, we watched it. Year or two ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
With some friends.
Wow.
And then we just rewatched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you knew what you're getting.
It was our Saturday night date.
That's beautiful. I had 16-year-old memories of being exhausted, in and out of sleep with this bad VHS copy. So this was a revelation watching it again.
But I want to say that at least I think Fern is probably the best, like the bright light in this movie throughout. Like her scenes are pretty much, they just feel more natural and like, she disappears for large stretches of the film. So that's problematic. Because she really kind of elevates everything. And I was going to say one other thing, but now I just slipped my mind again. But
yeah,
I mean, it's just
like the camera loves her.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the feeling you get. She's not trying too hard, and it's all good.
So relaxed.
Yeah,
and it is such a breath of fresh air when she's in there.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, this is the other thing I was going to say, is that most of her scenes, they're not trying to force that like bizarre, wacko physical comedy bit.
Yeah.
So because I think that's really part of the problem with the movie is that they aim for this like physical comedy that just falls flat every time.
Yeah.
And then they have the like dinky soundtrack that is, you're supposed to think it's funny, but it's just irritating.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So Ungar shows up to pick up Fern. Then we get an incredibly quick shot and unnecessary shot of the M Society guys at their place. One of them is putting a noose playfully around another's neck. Let's just check in with them for such a short thing. It almost seems like an accident, like, whoops, this shot got mixed in there. Oh well, keep it. At the camp, the rich people are being annoying. The dad is working on a painting while the mom is angrily complaining from the tent. I kind of like that the dad is taking up art. It's kind of fun. Now, okay, some guy at the lake sees some girls hiking. He convinces one of them to pose for photos. I guess the photographer is like the fourth member of that foursome, right? Is he like
He's the son.
It's a mom and dad and two adult kids.
Correct.
Okay. So the boy, the adult kid is a photographer, and he finds some random hiking ladies and gets them to pose for photos. We keep cutting back to Ungar in his house talking to the worms. The photographer is now getting shots of the woman who's going to have dinner with Ungar, and she refuses to do nude shots. So just lots going on. Do we know the name of that woman who's going to have dinner with Ungar, Charlie?
Heidi.
Oh, good.
She's something. How do you describe her accent? I guess, like you said, Marlene Dietrich. Is that what's going on there?
She's trying to be very German, and they also try to bring up a little bit of Germanness with Umgar, and I guess his background. I don't know why they're just going for it.
Let's listen to it. Let's listen to the two of them. She's preparing a meal for Umgar, and this is what it sounds like.
We have some dip. Let's just sit here and pretend we are married. You will be the master, and I will be your...
Okay, right there, Umgar gives the best look you've ever seen. He's just so disgusted by her presence. And like Charlie already mentioned it, but the only thing that matches Fern's relaxation is Ungar's frustration. Like Herb gives some good looks, but let's hear a little more of this.
Oh, what do we have here?
Note, that's the sound of worms, by the way. Those were the sound of worms that we just heard. She opened it up and freaks out when she sees some worms. So that's what's going on there. Very broad, very over the top. But thank God for Herb's, the cutaways to Herb, I guess. Huh, Charlie?
Yeah. And I think it shows there that having the sound effects for the worms was probably a key filmmaking choice, because it would have been very empty if you just cut to them and you don't hear anything.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It helps, and it was free.
So
she's weird here because she sees the worms, right? You think she would go home.
But she comes back. Yeah, that's amazing. I totally thought she was out, Tom, didn't you?
Yeah. And it seems like Ungar was, he put worms in a pot. It seems like he's trying to scare her off, right? I don't understand why he'd have worms in a pot otherwise. Like, he's doing everything he can to repel her. And he lives in this disgusting hovel, and there's worms everywhere. Like, there's nothing good about being connected with him.
Yeah, and she still wants to play like BDSM games. She's like, you be the master, I'll be the slave.
It's really weird. He's not showing any indication that he is interested in this at all.
So she sees worms again. The second time she sees worms, though, she actually leaves, I think. She comes back.
Oh,
you're right. You're right.
His
You're
Italian
right.
thing.
Okay.
Does that make you a spaghetti? He kept saying that, and then there's worms in the spaghetti.
Right.
I don't know why he also seems so cavalier about using his beloved worms.
Yeah, he loves them so much. Why is he feeding them to people? She murdered Carl. Carl is... Oh, go, Tom.
Tom?
I think this is... The spaghetti was an accident, I think. The way he reacts, it seems like it's an accident. But then he sees what happens, and then something flips, and he realizes that the worms can be a weapon.
This is the moment.
He says something, though. There's one point where Umgar says, I'm going to give her something that's going to make her want to leave. He says something like that.
Oh. Maybe I'm wrong.
So anyway,
it might have happened, but I'm not sure. It's confusing.
I don't know. I'm confused now, because I remember I thought it was an accident that the same way Tom did. So she eats the bowl of spaghetti, and then the worms got in there somehow.
Okay. And
oh my God, just that whole scene, I was trying to not throw up myself, because it is
really gross. Yeah.
Those worm eating scenes are so gross. Throughout the whole movie. It's just...
But it would be gross watching anyone eat that close up, even if it wasn't worm
Good point.
related.
That's a good point.
But then, because then I thought that he just, because that's the first time someone turns into a worm on screen, is when after she eats the worm spaghetti.
I think so, yeah.
So the question is, did Ungar even know that could happen prior to that moment?
He didn't know.
Okay, here's a question. Did Ursula turn into a worm girl at her birthday party?
We don't know if she ingested them.
Okay. All right. Good call. I want to just note, before she eats the pasta, she freaks out and kills one of the worms, and Ungar mutters, "She murdered Carl," which is a...
I like that.
I love that they all have names. That's what makes this somewhat redeemable is like Ungar's relationship with the worms.
So okay, so then as she's transforming into a worm person, she hits Ungar over the head with a bottle of beer before that happens, which is kind of fun. But yeah, so she gets all weird, and so like the bottom half of her body is worm, and the top half is whatever, and she's making that worm noise too, I guess, even louder because she's big. So that's a new element that's been brought into the plot. We didn't know this beforehand, and we could debate all day whether Ungar knew. I'm gonna say he didn't know. Well, let's go around the room and figure out. Charlie, what do you say? Did he know about the transformative properties of the worms at this point?
Did not know.
Tom.
I don't think so.
Ava.
I agree. He didn't know.
It's a surprise to everybody. All right, so that's happening. Lots going on in this guy's world. He's got the mayor trying to get the deed. He's got the campers to deal with, and now he's got worm people to deal with. Let's listen to the campers when they express that they're upset with Ungar about a number of things.
This is no way to run an establishment. Why, I own 18 large corporations. And if one of my executives acted the way you're acting, why, he'd be fired on the spot.
You take numbers when you stand in line. Otherwise, no food. What do you think this is, Honey Hana?
There are only 6 of us out here. Why should we take numbers?
Good enough for bakery, good enough for Ungar.
Oh, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
This is the highlight.
I'm going to play more, but I didn't notice it till now, but it is very reminiscent of Memorial Valley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
very much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear more of this because this is prime stuff right here.
I want you to come with me right now to my wife's tent and take her breakfast order. I'll come along with you.
You got any hot dogs in there? Even a crummy place like this pigsty's gotta have hot dogs.
No hot dogs. Hot dogs got sawdust in them. Bad for stomach.
Hey, Shorty, don't you know that it's un-American not to have hot dogs? If you're gonna live here and serve food to us American youth, then it's your patriotic duty to have hot dogs.
Not wieners, you understand? Plain American hot dogs. We're gonna report you. They're gonna take you to the Mexican border and throw you out.
Ah, can you imagine that? The old clubfoot might get sent back to Berlin because he doesn't know about hot dogs.
I heard they were gonna take the eagles off the flagpoles and put hot dogs up there. Sexy.
Oh man,
that is. I forgot there were lines that good. That capsule there is magic.
There's so much going on in there.
Oh, and what you're not seeing is the looks of exasperation on Ungar's face. every cut is priceless. Oh, what a scene! Talking about
anti-German sentiment coming in.
You're going. The clubfoot's getting sent to Germany via Mexico too.
Oh my God! And they're taking the eagles off the flagpoles. Like, who talks that much about the eagles on the flagpoles? It's barely a thing. And putting hot dogs up there.
That's just plain old good writing too. It's just plain old good writing. It is really, really good. I wish that was the whole movie.
The hot dog girls, bravo!
Oh, yeah.
Because
good.
bravo. They were energetic.
They're having
sassy.
a grand old time. Yeah.
It was a tete kind of, and I enjoyed it.
I just love the whole scenario. Is like the presumption that this horrible little place is going to be like catering to your food wishes. It's like going up to a stranger's house and yelling at them for no reason. It's so good.
In fact, the first time we watched this, I didn't even know that Ungar was running a campground. I think I was that confused. I just thought they were just demanding him, that he serve them, which they kind of are. But watching it again, I saw there were some signs that he actually does have like a shop in there, run down as it may be.
It's thin.
Ungar.
Yeah, I don't think I caught the campground thing Definitely not the first time I watched it, and the second time I only really understood it because Tom explained it to me.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's hard to follow.
Developer.
It's hard to follow anyway, but also it's hard to keep watching. So that's like the 1-2 punch for being confused about a plot. Ungar shuts the door on them. Fern tells them about how he loves worms. She suggests that perhaps he's not the right person to be cooking for them, which is good advice. Good advice from Fern. Very practical. So then he comes out with some meat for her to cut for them. Is that the bologna, Charlie?
Well, I just like that Ungar mentions I know hot dogs, bologna sandwich only, $1. I just thought that was so charming, that detail.
Yeah. But then he comes out with like a bologna,
like a big deli,
a whole roll. Yeah,
you cut it up.
So then,
if you translate that for inflation, I wonder how expensive. While you guys are talking, I'm gonna look up what $1 in that value of 1977 is.
The rich camper brings Ungar out to his wife's tent so she can make her breakfast order. Ungar dutifully complies and then goes and cooks it up in the kitchen, brings it out to her. And then we watch as she eats, and alas, there are worms in the food. She eats them, somehow unaware, and then has a reaction similar to that of the previous woman, and Ungar wheels her back to his place. So Charlie.
Okay, well, the answer is $4.04. So that's a $4 bologna sandwich that they would be buying. A modest
it's reasonable
sandwich.
Yeah.
Reasonable. Okay. And are you going to mention how, for some reason, this lady who's supposed to be fancy starts gleefully eating with her hands because I guess they thought it'd be funny?
So awful.
It's terrible. It's so out of all the people to do it. Why this lady who wanted everything to be fancy? And then
who is also costumed, like she's dressed going to like a gala and not
like a chiffon nightgown.
Yeah.
Camping. It's really weird.
Yeah. And then her fudgies. I hope you guys talk about her fudgies.
I'm not sure. I'll see if they're in my notes, but interject. Have we already gotten to that point?
Well, we're right around there, but just
tell me about the I don't even know what that means. Tell me.
Yeah, well, no one does.
Okay.
But at some point, she says that she wants her fudgies, and then her husband says, I always keep he's actually buddy to buddy, man to man with Ungar for a second. Says, I keep a supply of fudgies. It's like it's some kind of treat that she likes. That she eats a lot of.
I think so. Yeah.
But it's weird. It's just another thing that makes you wonder, what are they talking about?
Yeah, it's not really connected to anything, and it's not important at all.
No.
But it takes up a good 10 seconds, so I guess that's why they did it.
Well, this movie in total is only like barely 70 minutes long, so they needed every second they could.
Yeah,
that's true.
Including several minutes of Ungar shuffling about his abode. The archaeologist Fern and the photographer guy, they're just hanging out there, like looking at stuff, and they notice the tracks of an animal on the ground, and which are clearly from the big worm people. And they also notice that the lake is turning red. What's going on with that red effect, Charlie?
Yeah. Well, I like her easy answer that it's the red algae, which is common in the ocean but not in the lakes. That was cool, but it's not due to that. It's due to worm magic. And what an interesting side note. I don't know why the worms have red associated with them. They had to spend money to do an effect there.
Yeah, that effect,
to bother.
Effect really takes you out of the proceedings too. Really, pretty bad effect. Yes.
Yeah, it's fairly bad, and there's no real precedent for any seeing anything like that.
Yes, it's so naturalistic. The whole movie, we're out in the woods, and then suddenly, these video game redness is over the lake, and wow! But it's kind of heartwarming, Tom.
Well, the only it's heartwarming. Yeah, I mean, Doler would have been a little proud of it, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Doler would have done a better job, but it does sort of plant the seeds for the worm men who who for some reason seem to be like supernatural worm men, not just regular worm men.
Yeah, it's a good. Why didn't they have the same reaction to the worms that the ladies did? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's
I mean,
not
isn't
even.
that the thrust of the problem is that there are no worm ladies.
Right. Yeah, but
although there are, that's what's kind of weird is that there clearly are, but
yeah, but they seem to be
why can
like
they speak English or where the worm?
They're like learned god. They're like gods from another time.
Right.
And I don't know why.
Or have they spent a year as wormmen and they've been able to, cultivate the ability to speak again? Maybe the worm ladies will be able to speak also in a year.
And in a more fancy way that's unfitting with who they were before as
that's a good point.
fishermen.
They were rough around the edges fishermen. Yeah. Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, there. So many questions.
All right, so listeners, Ungar checks in. He's got 2 half worm, half women in a cage upstairs in his house. He checks in with them, then he goes to sleep. He arises to the 3 fishermen from the beginning of the movie. One of them we know is a champion fisherman, by the way. Just, a nice little extra bit of info about him. They didn't die. They've been living in the red tide of the lake for all this time. And now, far be it from me to explain what's going on with them. Let's allow them to explain it.
Beneath the red tide in the lake. We have made our home there. We can never return to land again.
But you're dead. Everybody know you're dead.
We did not die. When we ate the fish we caught with your tenure worms, they took over our lifeblood, and we became like this. Not man, not worm. The worms took over our bodies, and we live in peace. Underneath the red tide in the lake, we are a new glorious breed of men. We are at peace under the red tide, and we do not need greedy man. Tonight, we have come for you to help us, Ungar.
We help you?
We are men only. We need women. We cannot go out onto the land. The sun is too hot. It will destroy us. At night, we go roaming for love so we can have children. Ungar, we need you to get us women. We need your help.
All right, so I'm gonna keep calling him Ungar, but clearly it's more often than Ung. But he'll always be Ungar to me. A lot is going on for poor Ungar, like as if he didn't have enough on his hands. Now he's got these 3 mythical guys. So perhaps their reaction was different from the ladies' reaction because they got it through the fish. You know what I'm saying, Tom?
Possibly, yeah. If this red tide is somehow magical and the red tide infected the fish and it was like some combination of worm magic and red tide magic.
Yeah, that's why they are these gods, and the poor ladies who just had direct worm contact are that's that horrible noise you're hearing in the background, listeners. It's too much. Charlie, did you have something or no?
No, there's one part where he says, "You're something worms." I don't know what word he says there. The championship fisherman.
Yeah.
It's like the fish we caught using your. He says like toft worms, or he says something like that. It just adds to the confusion of the whole. As you're trying to listen to him closely to figure out how the heck all the magic works.
Yeah, it sounds like the Ungar has like specific like breeds, so like maybe those were the smoke and the fish tank worms, and then there's the other worms that are like in the weird like box that he has.
That's true.
Okay,
and then there's like weren't there
must
like
be.
in that first opening scene when he's like just wandering around his house, there's like he opens this trap door and talks to something that you don't see.
That's true.
And I never really understood if we were supposed to think that was more worms or if that was like some sort of creature. that lived underneath his house. It was like really weird. And
That's a good point. Yeah.
I at one point I wondered, like, that would be the only reason I would think that he would have known that the worms turn people into worm creatures, except that later on it really doesn't seem like he knew that would have happened. So
what is why did he put worms in the cake of Ursula? Why did he put worms in Ursula's cake?
I didn't know necessarily that. I didn't necessarily think that he put them there, to be honest. Like, I just thought that they
got there.
They got there. Well, same thing with the spaghetti. I didn't think that he had purposely put them in. They just because these worms kind of just creep into everything. So I just always assumed that they got into things, not necessarily that he put them there.
So much.
It's possible, but it's also convenient that that's his mortal enemy,
Yeah,
and he was there on the grounds. So
but it makes no sense because it's baked in the cake perfectly. He would have had to accost the baker and then put that in the batter pre-cooking or something, or pre-icing.
And the worms are alive.
The worms
I would have,
alive.
I would think that if they were baked worms, they would have
been crispy. That's true. So it would have to happen after the cake was baked. Cut a hole in it, re-iced it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So,
We're in the midst of a party. That's the real movie. It would kind of be like Rogue One, where you learn how they stole the plans. This would be like, how did Umgar get the worms in Ursula's cake? 90 minutes.
So the fishermen want to take the women from the cage. Umgar protests against this for some reason and convinces them to go away. I think he says well, I only have 2. Come back when I have 3. Is that what's going on there? Yeah, Charlie. So
yeah, and they all note the fact that that will be a problem. We kind of want 1 for each.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come back in a week, Umgar.
Now, does Umgar want to protect the women from these guys, or is he all for it? I don't know.
Conflicted.
Oh, he doesn't know either. All right.
Yeah, he's conflicted.
He's taking it one day at a time.
Here's a moment I liked. The rich guy discusses the disappearance of his wife with his daughter, and he decides not to report it to the police. He's kind of happy to be done with her, and the audience is too. That's a nice little moment. Then we watch another camper go to the outhouse. I guess this was the photographer. He has the runs, and then there's a joke involving an explosion sound and then 4 rolls of toilet paper, which is, in keeping with that horrible comedy.
So bad.
So that's supposed to be that the explosion of his diarrhea has caused that to happen.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, so inconsistent. So inconsistent. Here's a good moment. Okay. So now the girls, Fern and another girl, are trying to get to the water, and Umgar's trying to protect them, I think. And he tries to lure them with hot dogs. Let's listen to that.
That's the other girl.
Okay. Anytime now. Sorry.
Girls, don't go near the water. Don't go near the water. I got hot dogs for you. I got all meat hot dogs. I got a big shipment. They just came in. Don't go near the water. I'm going to cook hot dogs for you. Hot dogs, they're coming.
Oh, my God. There he is again, the strange one. He scares the hell out of me. Maybe he ate Mama.
Okay. I like his the way he's warning them about the hot dogs. He's really into it, and that was a good moment. And so yeah, who is that girl? That's the daughter of the missing woman who said that. And then who's the blonde girl? She's just the random hiker who was posing for photos, Charlie?
Yeah, and then one of the ones who wanted the hot dogs, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demanding, the hot dogs.
Un-American talk, yeah.
Okay. So then he's luring them there to kill them, though, I guess.
Turn them into worm women.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. So now he's got 4 women in his place. And then Fern shows up for hot dogs, but sees the girls through Umgar's roof and runs away. Umgar chases after her, and boy, does he move well, with his club foot. It's an exciting chase scene, And at one point, she calls out Holy Mary Magdalena as she gets cornered at the fence. Charlie, how'd you like that exciting scene?
I like her exclamation the best, but yeah, it was good. It was good. She's always charming on screen, and her charm continues here as she just tries to reason with Umgar.
Yeah, and even when she's tied up, like you feel no peril. There's no peril whatsoever. She's just like comfortably tied up in his kitchen and not really worried about anything. And that's why I don't even remember her from the first time we watched it. We didn't give her any awards or anything, did we, Charlie?
No.
We should have. What a shame, huh, Tom?
Yeah.
She's the one bright spot.
I know. He can't get it all right.
Okay, so unbelievably, even though he had her cornered at the fence, it's like Fern is an able-bodied young lady. She should have been able to escape him, but unbelievably, he has her tied up in his place. Ungar is distracted from his plan, whatever it is, when he discovers one of his worms has escaped, so he goes on a search for it. He opens his music box outside, hoping the sound will lure the worm back to him, I guess.
While also loosening up his foot to help the chase.
Oh, my goodness. Do you think that's the case?
It's possible.
Oh, wow. It works. He finds the worm on a rock. He's so happy. And we get a close-up of the worm in his hands. And it's dancing. The worm is dancing in his hand.
It's beautiful.
Ava, when you showed this movie to friends, what were they doing at this point?
I mean, these friends of ours are really... I was probably the one who was least excited about the whole thing. Continue to be the least excited about the whole thing. They thought it was great. They're really horror buffs, and they love watching bad horror movies with us. So they were the perfect audience for this movie. I feel like we watched another one with them that night too. So I think this was the second one.
I think so, yeah. This was the lighter-hearted.
Lighter-hearted, but it also sort of killed the mood because one of them did fall asleep. One of our friends, he fell asleep.
All right, Ungar dances in slow motion with the worm in his hand. All is momentarily right with the world. We get a freeze frame of this happy moment before fading out. Charlie,
did you guys get the feeling that this particular worm, Bertha, is kind of like his girlfriend worm?
Is it Bertha? It's definitely Bertha. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he hollers to that name.
Yes, he loves Bertha. I don't think it's I don't think it's romantic though.
No, well,
I
don't.
There's definite love.
Yeah, lots of love for Bertha.
Well, he definitely has an unhealthy attachment to his worms. So
yeah,
amen.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were a worm girlfriend.
Now it's a sad jolt back to reality. We briefly see the M Society guys preparing some gasoline. Then, okay, is that Ungar's house that they're preparing to burn? Is that what that is?
It's supposed to be, but only if you struggle to try to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, like the exterior of his house seems different every time we see it, kind of.
That was like a tall lookout in a field.
Yeah.
Like a windmill.
Yeah, that was weird. So then we get to see the women in their cages making weird worm noises. Poor Fern is still tied up. She begs him not to feed her any worms. I'll do anything you ask, she says. She also doesn't want his land taken away from him. She's on his side. He shows her the deed. She promises to take the deed to the town meeting. He won't untie her, so she says, just take the deed to that guy, the hippie guy. Phil. With delightful saloon music in the background, we watch as the M Society guys continue to prepare to burn Ungar's house. Now we're at the exciting rezoning meeting. Several people are in favor of the rezoning to build condos. The hippie guy argues against it. The mayor explains, we don't need loudmouths at an organized meeting. And now let's hear a little bit of the back and forth of this situation.
My business has gone way down. I got beer going warm in the fridge. I got goddamn pinball machines that have dropped dead. Fishermen used to come in to see me by the hundreds, and they don't come into Marlboro's place no more. I love nature. And I love that lake. Hell, I was raised around that lake. I used to fish for catfish when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. But now, all of that has changed.
Change? You want to know about change? Let me tell you about my hamburger and chicken joint. My buns are drying up. I got grade A meat that's turning green. There's rotten chickens that get rottener every day. Place looks like a bad beachhead landing. I ain't got no business. That lake is one dried up mud hole.
All right. That's a fun little meeting. I don't mind that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I don't understand what do they expect is going to change with this rezoning?
It's not going to.
People aren't going to come here.
Oh, Charlie.
But remember the thing they keep saying? It's going to be Manana Estates. So if they turn it into Manana Estates, it's going to be homes with people permanently living there.
Customers.
I guess so.
So he goes on to say we need swimming pools to attract thousands of girls to the town, which is an interesting. Also
tipped his hand a little bit there.
The hippies report that Ungar has a deed. The town leaders quiet them by literally restraining them. Democracy in action. That's another. This was a scene that I think we wrote about, right? This was a real memorable moment. A crazy minister starts praying for rezoning as the dissenters are dealt with. That's a fun moment, huh, Tom?
Oh, it's so good. There's so much going on. It's impossible to even summarize it all, but I just love the whole scene. The mayor's at the beginning. He's like, we're going to have an open and frank discussion. And they have just members of the town council who have, vested interest in this plan speaking. It's like, anybody else? Anybody else? And Phil says, I don't think this is a good idea. They're like, tackle him. It's so great.
The mayor's mad to learn that Ungar had the deed all along, He's like, oh, he was lying to me, I've been trying to kill the guy, and he's lying to me. He declares he's going to go blow his brains out.
Publicly, very loud,
Back at Ungar's, he and Fern are listening to a news report about the meeting that just happened. Let's listen to that.
K-FOF, Melna, California. Here's a real news hot flash from City Hall. There was a big ruckus tonight at the town meeting for the rezoning of Lake Melnick. A young boy disrupted the meeting as far as we can tell and is being hunted by the sheriff right now. It seems at the meeting he and his group of conservationists took exception to the city council's ruling in favor of rezoning the lake. The two councilmen, a council lady, and the mayor voted unanimously to grant to Clyde Harris and his Land America Investment Group the rights to the property and the future development of Manana Estates. Now for more music.
Now for more music. Oh, that's a great moment.
Wow.
Ungar giving these pained looks, just like he's so pained to be hearing what he's hearing, and Fern just like so comfortably. She's like in the Bigfoot movie where the girl is tied up and not frightened at all. And I love that. So casually being held captive. All right, next day, Ungar's gotten some worms into the burgers at the burger place. Oh, so it's like a whole montage of just everyone in town eating worms that Ungar has somehow placed into the food.
It's like the Godfather baptism scene.
Yes.
It's exactly like that. So we get to see... He interrupts a woman and a man arm wrestling and sneaks a worm into the bottle of liquor that they're drinking from. Charlie.
That's Ted V. Mikels, the arm wrestler, who, as you may know, was kind enough to give us a blurb for Monsters, Marriage, and Murder in Manch Vegas.
So, Ted, great work. That's my favorite scene.
The late, great Ted V. Mikels.
Very good.
Then he gets a worm into someone's ice cream. Ungar comes, so he just goes on a worm rampage. Ungar comes home to find the mayor waiting with a gun. He wants the papers. He means business this time. Ungar goes to get the papers, but then fights the mayor and forces him upstairs to the cage where the worm women are. Ungar can't even watch as I guess they're eating him, Tom, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
He's so grossed out, he goes to lie down for a bit. Ungar waits up. He wakes up with a fish hook in his ear. He's being reeled out of the house by one of the fishermen.
He's a champion fisherman.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That is truly the work of a champion. The poor Fern can only watch as he's reeled out of the house. She's been standing there for so long at this point, too. You know, like at least 24 hours, it would seem. But she's doing it comfortably. The fisherman forces worms into Ungar's mouth as the other two fishermen go to get the women. So he's been keeping the women from the fishermen, I get, because he just wants to have them. Ava?
I don't know.
What?
I think it was still within the time frame that the fisherman...
Yeah, I thought so too.
But he's got like 4 women at this point.
Yeah, but he did what they asked.
All right. It's so weird.
You know what, though? Here, unless I'm wrong, guys, Herb Robbins went above and beyond. This is one shot where it's not a cheap insert.
Yeah.
You see kind of like his head, some of his
with
shoulders.
like
It's clearly
12
him.
worms in his mouth.
A lot of worms. It's really gross. And
so gross.
Yeah.
There's even one point where one's kind of flopping around later. It is as gross as you can imagine. So he put his money, where his mouth was, and he stepped up and did it. But gross as hell.
The fish.
So gross.
Fisherman forces. Okay, yeah. One of the worm fisherman guys unties the archaeologist Fern, who immediately pushes him and hopefully escapes. Ungar's been turned into a half worm, half person. Now some woman awaits her lover in a bed. What is that? Okay, just a brand new character. 3 minutes left in the movie. There's a brand new character. What? She's awaiting her lover in her bed, and there's a worm person who sneaks into the bed and then attacks her. Okay, the woman is just a random woman. Is the worm person Ungar or what? No, says Charlie.
No, it's one of the other worms. Remember how they said that they prowl the land at night looking for love? This is an instance of that.
They
he
just
did it
got
at risk
4
of his
ladies.
peril.
They just got 4 ladies. What do they need
They've
this
got the
woman
worm
for?
ladies. I don't know why he's not going with the worm lady now. But I'm assuming that he went out into the world to try to get with a regular woman, and he's going to seek out water at regular intervals to keep himself
What
poised.
worked really well is like not only he broke into this house at the perfect time that she was awaiting her lover too, It's good timing. Here's one idea. Could that worm person just be the victim? Perhaps someone from the ice cream shop who ate worm ice cream and then came home?
But did that person have contact with the red tide?
How do you know it's a super worm person and not just a regular worm person?
That's a good question.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to put it to vote because who cares? Then another woman is talking to her kids about how she made some jam. As she puts it away, she's attacked by a worm person. Another woman goes to take a shower and is attacked. Who are these people? Who cares? Ungar
They phoned in the ending so bad on this movie.
Ungar is hit by a truck, and thankfully, the movie is over. Let's get some reviews. Ava, start us off.
I mean, I can't believe I've watched this movie twice.
Yeah.
It's like, at least it's only 74 minutes long, so it's not that much time out of my life that I have dedicated to the Worm Eaters. But
I gotta say, I don't know if my version was different, but mine ran an hour and 29 minutes. Charlie, did you watch that one or what?
Yeah, I watched the longer one
We
this
might
time.
have gotten some scenes that you guys didn't get.
That's what we were a little confused at a few points during your recap because I think we missed a few.
I saw you guys looking at each other. I just thought it was typical, like, Farley, huh?
Like spousal. No, I was like.
I thought I slipped into like another reality for a while, and
I mean, I just kind of assumed that I slept through whatever part. So.
but our tape is 75 minutes.
Oh, if only ours could have been 75 minutes. Now, did that explain anything to you? The scenes that you missed?
No.
It was like those like the setup scenes with a lot of those extra characters, like the archaeologist and the photographer. Like we didn't have all of those scenes.
So they just that's the thing, because I remember from the first time we watched it, people just appearing.
Yeah.
More so, it's like a little less build up. So interesting to know that those shots were taken out. Why cut it down to 75 minutes for VHS? That's weird. All right, wait. Did we finish your overall thoughts though, Ava? Never again. Is that the?
Now we got to watch the long version though.
No, I don't. I'm good. But Matt just recapped it for me. It's great.
Never again. All right, Tom, your thoughts.
I mean, I think the highs are so good. Like the hot dog demanding scene and like Democracy is Dead town hall meeting. Like those are some of my favorite movie scenes in all of cinema.
Yeah.
They're so great. But like the failed comedy and the music and during those goofy scenes, it really hurts. But I think when I recommended it for our friends last year to watch, all I was thinking about, was the glorious moments.
Right, and there's only 5 minutes of glory, but such glory, and it's I don't think ultimately it's not worth sifting through the rest of the movie to get to it, but just hearing the moments that I that I played, I like it so much more just from hearing those scenes than I did from when I started the podcast. Like that,
right.
Especially that the American, the anti-American hot dog talk. That is just glorious. But I got to remind myself of how much pain I was going through. I didn't even enjoy it as much watching it because I was in so much pain from what preceded it. Charlie, your review.
There's some things that I didn't remember.
Partly because you didn't actually see it. This is the longer
maybe,
version.
yeah. I see. I just looked it up. The official Splatter Movie Guide, Volume 1 and 2, which lists a whole bunch of movies, 1963, 1992. It lists the Worm Eaters as a 75-minute long movie.
Wow.
But we listed it in our book as 90-something minutes, and it's listed otherwhere as 90 minutes on IMDb. So yeah, that's food for thought. But this movie deserves major props for doing so much, being so memorable with so little. The worm effect, it must have cost them $10 to get those worms, and it is an immortal film of our time because where are you going to see something that gross? You might just show it to your friends just for that grossness, especially if you're like a teenager. And I really do feel like it's of the 70s in a nice way. It's from the time when if you made something like this, as long as it was a story, it had a few marketable things, it was going to get out there, and not on home video. It was playing theaters. That is so cool.
Good title.
Yeah, it's a good time, and there's a charm to it. It definitely has that regional filmmaking thing we look for. Even though it's made near L.A., it doesn't feel slick at all. No one mentions the Worm Eaters as a slick movie. So
yeah,
it's cool, and watch it with your friends and debate it. If not having talked with you guys even more in depth, I wouldn't have gotten so much fun out of it. But it's good stuff. Herb did a good job. Ted V. Mikels is down for anything, and I enjoy it.
We need to reiterate though, the failed comedy is really painful, really, 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 really painful for most of the movie, and it just like assaults your sensibilities. Ava.
And I think the soundtrack is just it's
so annoying.
It's so terrible.
Yes.
Like I think it adds to the sense of, like it makes the failed comedy even worse because it's trying to lead you into thinking it's funny, but it's not.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, I was like, it was sort of, it's so grating because it's like this dinky little kazoo piano like music that's playing the whole film.
And if you were to say, what is he saying with that music? What he's saying is, hey, look how funny this is. And that, you know, that's just, however, one thing we should reiterate.
Outside of town, there lives a man. People put down.
Oh, I love that song. And I still think he's listening to it.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
It really is, because it's just a guy and like a guitar. And it, you know, it's like, it feels like real. I love that song.
This movie, we come across this a lot, and usually Tom is, you know, pointing out how needlessly complicated stuff is, but it's such a low budget movie, and they're just trying to have the gross gags, but they're like, okay, let's bring in the red tide and, you know, different rules for the worms and foam that comes out of their bodies and stuff. You're like, you don't need that. You're just making it more confusing and causing more work. But somehow that's also kind of endearing because
it piles up on Ungar, and he's just like, I got more stuff to deal with. You know, like
worst life circumstances.
All he wants is just to hang out in his shack with his worms. That's all he wants. But just the world won't let him. All right. Any other, I guess we talked about how it's very 70s, and we kind of talked about how our memories were really vague and dark. And it's good to see it again, good to revisit it. So, yeah, I'm glad I sat through it. But I liked it. The lows were lower than I remembered it, probably because I slept through them the first time. Charlie, you have something to share with us?
Well, I have a little awards, Shock December awards info here.
Let's hear it.
Oh, nice.
So this is kind of something. Best actor nominees were Donald Pleasance, Halloween 4, Ken Whitehouse, Slumber Party 3, Herb Robbins, The Worm Eaters, Ricky, SNDN 2, and The Hitcher.
Don't tell me that Herb won. Please don't tell me.
And the winner is Herb Robbins from The Worm Eaters.
How could he beat Ricky? That is
wow.
shameful.
And Donald Pleasance.
How could he beat Donald Pleasance?
Or Ken Whitehouse.
Yeah. Or the
Hitcher.
Or the Hitcher. Anyone else.
That's why it's so good. Okay, so also we nominated Best Picture was a nomination. Best Director, Lucio Fulci for The Beyond, Larry Hagman for Son of Blob, Herb Robbins for Worm Eaters, Sally Madison, Slumber Party 3, or Robert Harmon for The Hitcher. And the winner is Herb Robbins for the Worm Eaters.
What were we thinking?
I think you guys were sleep deprived when you made those decisions.
Yeah.
And Best Supporting Actress, the woman who played Marilyn Monroe in Fade to Black, Ungar's girlfriend, Camper's wife and Son of Blob, arm wrestler in The Worm Eaters, or Antlers girl in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And the winner was Fade to Black girl.
Oh, Antlers girl didn't win.
But two Worm Eaters actresses who we disliked were both nominated for Best Supporting.
How could we give a nomination for the arm wrestler girl? That's crazy. I think we covered it. What a movie! I guess it's worth watching because it for the worm eating and just as much as we didn't like a lot of it, we're kind of glad that we got through it. It's like a badge of honor, to have survived sitting through Worm Eaters. So I guess that's it until next month. I'm Matt saying for Charlie, Tom, and Ava saying good night.